I don't know about you, but I know there was a time in my life when I ran away from God. I was mad at the world, I was mad at people, and I was mad at God. And I was running from God as fast as I could, as far as I could. And like everybody that runs from God, I found life without God was empty. It didn't meet my needs. I was lonely. I was depressed. I was discouraged. I was guilty. But one day I realized, as God's love kept pursuing me, that I could come home to the Father, and that changed everything. One of my favorite verses in the Bible is it's in the story Jesus told of what we call the prodigal son, the son who wasted what the Father had given him. The story is that there was this Jewish son, he was the younger brother, who demanded his inheritance from his father. That's strike one. In that culture, you didn't demand your inheritance until after your father was dead. To demand your inheritance while he was still living was a tremendous insult. But not only that, he took the inheritance. Instead of staying in the community, he went to another country, to non-Jewish people. That's strike two. You were never supposed to go do that. And number three, he wasted it in wicked, riotous. He just partied all the time. Three big strikes. And essentially, the culture had a rule that if somebody saw him coming, they could declare him no longer part of the village. It was the father's job, his responsibility, that if he saw his son, to declare the son not only not part of the village, but not part of the family. But you read this story in Luke chapter 15 about this son coming to his senses and returning to his father. And I love verse 20. It says, while he was still a long way off, his father saw him, had compassion for him, ran to him, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. Wow. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful verse. While he was still a long way off, his father saw him, had compassion for him, ran to him, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. What a reception that sinful young man received. Well, that tells us several things about God's love. It tells us it's forgiving and merciful. He didn't demand that the son tell the son he's no longer part of the family. He didn't tell the son he's no longer part of the village. He accepted him. He received him. And when you come back to God, God doesn't treat you like a second-class citizen. He receives you. Second, he was patient and expectant. It says he saw him a long way off. We don't know how long the son was gone. 6 months, 6 years. We don't know. But we know the father was still looking, still expecting him to return because he saw him even when he was a long way off. The love of this father was compassion. It says he was filled with compassion. He was overcome with compassion. You know, when you're far from God, God still hurts for you. And God still cares for you. The love shown here was active. He not only had compassion for his son, but he ran to his son. He ran up to him. He wasn't waiting, standing there with his arm crossed, waiting for the son to come to him like 99% of the fathers would have done. He ran to his son with open arms. He was expressive. He hugged him. Can you imagine? The son thought maybe that, the father's going to hit me. The father's going to hurt me. But the father hugged him. He had disrespected his father. He had disrespected his village. He had disrespected his family. But the father received the repenting son. The last thing is gracious. It says in verse 22 through 24 that the father said, look, the son confessed his sin, and the father said, get the best robe, get the ring, get the sandals, prepare a fatted calf, butcher the calf, throw a party. We're going to celebrate because this son of mine who was lost is now returned. So he threw a party. You know, God gets so happy when sinners repent and come to him. Now, I want you to understand something about this story. None of this love would have been experienced if the son hadn't left where he was, ran to his father, and confessed his sin. That's his job. That's his part. God did the Father did his part, which is a picture of God. The Son did his part, which is a picture of us. And today, may this be a picture of you. There are some of you listening, you're not close to God. Or some of you listening are going to share this with a family member or friend who is not close to God. And as God is reaching out to you today, be like that son. Come to your senses. Realize what you're doing isn't fulfilling. It's not working. It's not right. Leave where you are. Leave that stuff behind. Run to the Father. Maybe run back home to your earthly father as well. Confess your sin. Be restored. Be received. Be loved. Maybe you just need to tell God right now, God, I'm sorry. I'm coming home. In my heart, I'm running to you right now. God, I'll be in church on Sunday. I love you. I'm sorry. Forgive me. And I know that you will experience, if you mean it, the Father love of God. I'm Dave Early. I hope you like this type of Bible teaching. We do this 5 days a week on Facebook. You can follow us, YouTube. You can subscribe to our page. Tomorrow, join us. We're going to talk more about what the victorious power of the love of God.